You are listening to the Keep the Weight Off podcast with Dr. Angela
and Marchelle,
episode number 156.
Welcome to the Keep the Weight Off podcast, where we bust all the dieting myths and discover not just how to lose weight, but more importantly, how to keep it off. We go way beyond the food, and we use science and psychology to give you strategies that work. And now your host, Dr. Angela Zechmann.
All right, everyone. Welcome to the podcast this week. Marchelle, can you believe that we're already 2 months into 2024? Like, this is the end of February. Spring's on the way, right? And you know what I noticed is that cherry trees are blooming. Have you seen that?
Yes, I have. We have little daffodils and crocuses already springing up in our yard. And I mean, Dr. Angela, I am ready for the good weather. Like, bring it on.
I
Come
know.
on, spring. You know, that I believed that. What is his name? I can't pronounce it. The groundhog. What is the groundhog's name?
Oh, Puxatawny Phil.
Yes, thank you. I believed him when he said that spring was coming.
Well, I think, the warmer weather's going to be here before we know it. And we're just like, when you live in the Pacific Northwest and you get any sun at all during this time of year, it's like everybody just leaves work. It's so funny.
Yeah.
We just don't show up to work. So
yeah, I know, right?
I would never do that, and you better not do that. But it's really interesting though, because many people might be thinking about spring and might be thinking it's time to get the weight off, right? Like for the spring and summer.
Yeah, 'tis the season. Yep, to start thinking about summer.
So guess what I'm doing? I'm hosting another Belly Busters challenge.
Woohoo!
It's going to be the first week in April. Okay. So we're not yet open for registration. So don't go looking to sign up just yet. But I just wanted to let you know that that's something you can be looking forward to. So the first week in April, that's the week after Easter. And so I think a lot of people, their kids are on break that week. So hopefully it'll be easy for you to join us for the Belly Busters challenge. These challenges are just a really great opportunity to learn in a group setting how to think about weight loss. And I also give away prizes. So there you go. It's really something fun to look forward to. So just keep an eye on your email so you know when it's time to register. Okay?
I love the Belly Buster Challenge. It's like one of my favorite things that you do.
I know. It's really fun. I love doing them too. Okay. Well, let's talk about what I wanted to talk about this week. And that is identity. So Marchelle came to me after talking to a patient and said, we need to talk about this. So Marchelle, tell our listeners, what was the conversation that you were having with this particular patient?
Yeah. So we were talking about how difficult it sometimes is to wrap your mind around your weight loss and just the difference in your personality, or just, I think mostly we were talking about what your personality becomes, when you're carrying all this weight, how you want to hide away from the world. You try to cover up. I mean, that you're uncomfortable in your own skin. You wake up in a bad mood every day. When you're going on a trip, I remember when we'd have to go to an event, every single bit of my clothes would be out of the closet on the floor because I would be trying to find something to wear. And I would be so angry and upset that by the time that we were supposed to leave, I wouldn't even want to go at that point. I would start a fight with my husband. And so we were really relating on that topic because apparently I'm not the only one that has ever dealt with this. So I'm not alone. So yes, it was just this really remarkable conversation because I thought I was alone. She thought she was alone. And then we just talked about when you're clothes shopping, and you've lost, quite a bit of weight and you're clothes shopping, that you go straight to, the extra large where I used to shop. I used to do that. I would go right to the extra large just because I was so used to it. So we were just, having a pretty fascinating conversation about, identity and changing your identity. So I wanted you to maybe talk about it in a podcast with me.
Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about this topic. So many people who have been on a weight loss journey can really relate to this. So nobody's alone here, right? So the topic is, how does your identity shift as we shed the weight? And how do we adjust to this new version of ourselves? So remember, losing weight isn't just about numbers on a scale. It's about a complete transformation. So there's a mental transformation, an emotional transformation, and even a spiritual transformation. So that's why I always say the journey to lasting weight loss is a journey of profound personal evolution. This is what I mean, right? And one of the biggest challenges that we face is letting go of that old identity as the overweight person. So we've carried that label for so long that it kind of becomes ingrained in our self-image. And the idea of going to the smaller clothing size doesn't even seem like it fits, right?
No, not at all. And even looking in the mirror, I sometimes question myself, like, am I seeing, what's real in the mirror, or am I seeing who I used to be? Because there is, because I don't know if anybody's listened to this podcast for the first time, welcome. And I've lost about 70 pounds.
Yeah.
And so that's pretty significant for me. And
well, yeah, it would be significant for anybody.
Yeah. And it's been a journey, but then it's like, it becomes a part of who we are, being that person, because I was heavy for many, many years, and it just becomes a part of who we are. And and when we start to lose the weight and drop the pounds, we can feel like we're losing a part of ourselves.
Yeah.
And that's true. That happens.
Yeah. And so this whole identity that we have of ourselves as an overweight person has to shift. And so it can sometimes feel like we're losing ourselves. But here's the thing, we're not actually losing anything. In fact, we're gaining so much more. Think about everything we're gaining. Like we're gaining our health, we're gaining years added to our lives, we're gaining energy. Psychologically, we're gaining confidence, we're gaining vitality, we're gaining a new sense of self-worth. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it definitely makes sense. But I think that so many of us find that it's not always easy to see ourselves as thin.
Right.
Or the healthy people that we've become. One thing that, and this sounds really trivial, but one thing that I used to really have a hard time with was with seatbelts, like on an airplane or in the car. I used to have a hard time getting the seatbelt on. And something that I always, like every day when I get in my car and I can put my seatbelt on and I'm not, having to make it larger, or even when I get on a plane, it's just such a big deal to me to look down and fit into a seatbelt. I don't know if anybody else has had that come up with them. But it's like so many of us just carry those old insecurities and those doubts, even when there's evidence right there in front of us.
I know. And, the interesting thing, it's like not until we're confronted with this new reality, we oftentimes can't even see it, right? So what I like to compare it to is watching a child grow. So we don't see those changes on a daily basis when you're going through this. So that's why we take pictures in the clinic. And that's why I recommend anybody who's listening to this podcast, who's not in our clinic getting their pictures taken regularly, take pictures, okay? Because you can't see what's happening. So think about a child. Like if you look at their school photos, like say from the 2nd grade to the 3rd grade, yeah, you can see the changes, but you're seeing them every day. You don't see those changes. So the same thing has happened with your body. Like you can't see the changes from one day to the next or from one week to the next. And most people think nothing's happening. They're like, I'm doing all this work and nothing's happening. So sometimes what will happen is you'll look at the pictures and you'll be like, oh my God, like these are huge. Sometimes what will happen is you'll catch a glimpse of someone in a mirror or a reflection in a window. And you're like, wow, that person looks great. And then you realize, holy crap, that's me. Have you ever had that happen, Marchelle?
Yes, I have actually. Catching myself in a window every once in a while, and then I have to stop for a second. And
yeah. Actually had that happen to me one time in the opposite direction because I had put some weight on, and I saw this person in the window, and I was like, wait a minute, that person's pretty. That person's put some pounds on. That has some pounds, and I'm like, wait a minute, that's me. So it can happen the other direction too.
Yeah, it can. Yeah, for sure.
So let's talk about how we can let go of that old identity and the overweight person and fully embrace the new identity as the healthy, vibrant, confident person. It's about shifting our mindset, and it's about sort of rewriting our internal dialogue. It's about changing the thoughts that we think about ourselves and then just stepping into our power as this amazing, resilient individual. Right?
Right. It does take time. And something like I'd like to share is that
Uh-huh.
it requires a lot of courage,
Yes.
a lot of patience,
Yep.
a whole lot of self-love and self-kindness.
Yep.
But honestly, the rewards are life-changing.
For sure. So, one of the steps in this process is that we have to shift our internal dialogue. So, instead of focusing on what we've lost, and I don't mean weight loss, I mean all of the treats and things that we've lost, we want to celebrate what we've gained. So, it's about reframing our thoughts and recognizing the incredible progress that we've made. So every pound lost and every pound of fat lost, right, is a victory. And every healthy choice that we make is a step towards our best selves. I think I said in a previous podcast, it's a vote for the person we're becoming, right? Does that make sense?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yep.
So think about this. Most people, when they first start their weight loss journey, it's really common to fixate on all the things they're missing out on, whether it's the foods that they've cut out, like the chips and the margaritas at the Mexican restaurant, or the birthday cake at their sister's birthday party. Just examples, right? So they might even decide to skip some of the social activities that they usually take part in an effort to prioritize health. However, think about it like this. If we keep thinking about this in terms of a loss or a perceived loss, this is only going to serve to keep us in a negative mindset, and that can really set us back. So think about it. The brain just goes into this dramatic, woe is me mentality. I see this. I do this sometimes too. And you're thinking, I can't have this, or I can't have that. That's classic diet mentality. Did you ever do that, Marchelle? I know I sure did.
Yeah. So I have done that. And so there was something that I made up to tell myself when I would start getting into that negative way of thinking, that I'm missing out.
Yeah.
So, and I've said this in a previous podcast. So what I tell myself, and I do tell other patients this too, and this has just always resonated with me, is that there is not a single thing that I could eat on this planet that tastes better than feeling sexy in my clothing.
Oh.
Yeah, or feeling confident in my own skin, or feeling good that I have a pair of jeans that fit me well. So there's not anything that I can eat that tastes better or feels better than that. So whenever I'm starting to feel deprived, then I just keep having to tell myself that, and that gets me through.
Yeah. It's interesting. I remember dieting all those years ago, and I was married at the time, and we used to belong to a gourmet group.
Oh, that sounds like fun.
It was fun. And every few months, we'd have this big meal in someone's house, and the hostess would find a really extravagant cookbook and assign everyone a complicated dish to make. It was a lot of fun. It really was. And
yeah, that sounds
but
like
when
fun.
I was dieting, I remember going to one of these gourmet group dinners, and I made my dish, but I ate none of it. I didn't even taste it.
Oh,
and I remember that I was getting ready for a competition at the time, and I just felt really deprived. And it really was not something that was sustainable and not very smart. I wasn't thinking about my long-term health. I was dieting for this deadline. I was dieting for this competition. I was using all kinds of willpower. I was making myself absolutely miserable. Absolutely miserable. It was terrible.
Yeah, I can't really relate to that side of things, but it sounds awful.
It was terrible. And so when you're in that mentality, that's just not sustainable. So what we want to do is we want to consciously redirect our focus. So we're wanting to think about what we're gaining. We're wanting to think about all the advantages of our new lifestyle and our new focus on health. And for sure, we don't want to be doing stupid things like dieting for a deadline. Okay.
Right.
So
right.
we're celebrating the positive changes that come with our weight loss journey. So we call these non-scale victories in the weight loss world. Maybe it's all the new energy that we have to play with our kids or our grandkids. Or Maybe it's energy that we have to develop new hobbies. Or, like we have a lot of patients and clients online who are like playing pickleball now, or geocaching, or taking great big hikes that they never could have imagined before.
Or being able to bend over and tie your shoes.
Yeah, that too. Or going on a plane and not having to get a seatbelt extender,
Yeah, right. Exactly.
You want to celebrate that feeling of accomplishment that you feel after conquering, say, a tough workout or resisting temptation at a social gathering. So by shifting our perspective in this way, we can develop a new mindset where we're focused on gratitude, we're focused on empowerment, and this just gives us momentum to move forward on our journey towards better health, better well-being, all of that. Okay. And don't forget all the other like psychological gains, the increased confidence, the self-esteem, like you were talking about, feeling sexy in a great pair of jeans,
Yeah.
and the inner strength that comes from pushing ourselves outside of our comfort zones. So many of our patients and clients talk about wanting to improve their self-confidence. This is absolutely huge. These are the real victories of our weight loss journey, and they deserve to be celebrated every step of the way.
Yeah, it just made me think. So something I did this weekend is, I'd been hanging on to some of my bigger clothes because,
Ooh.
I don't know. And we've talked about this before, and I've already gone through, a cycle of getting rid of clothes. But these were, like the next size down. And I'd been hanging on to them because, I wasn't quite sure if I should get rid of them yet. So this weekend, I just went through all my stuff. I got rid of them. I'm donating them to a women's shelter, which feels good.
Oh, great.
Yeah. And I'm never going back there. And I have to embrace that identity.
Yeah.
It's really hard though, because I wanted to keep that stuff just in case.
Just in case. Yep.
But you don't want to do that.
Yeah. So focus on what you're gaining rather than what you're losing. And seriously, you're not really losing much more than a few sugary or floury treats once in a while.
It's true.
Don't you think? It's not a big deal. Like the benefits far outweigh the sacrifices. And then we not only boost our morale and our motivation, but we're laying the foundation for long-term success. Okay. It's a really powerful shift in perspective that can transform not just our bodies, but our entire lives. And yes, get rid of the old clothes.
Yes.
Okay. There's one more thing I want to talk about when I talk about this idea of developing a new identity. It's super important to surround ourselves with support and positivity. So whether it's friends or family or fellow weight loss warriors, having a strong support system can make all the difference.
This is true. One of the most important things. I couldn't even imagine doing this if I did not have a community of people and support, and the Facebook groups and the empowered weight loss and just so many wonderful groups.
Yeah. So it can sometimes feel like you're all alone. So part of this new identity may be retraining the people around you. So that's pretty interesting. They got used to you being a certain way, eating their Christmas cookies or going out for Mexican food and margaritas with them, right? They may not like it when you change the rules.
It's true.
So you want to be prepared for that. So this is when it's super helpful to surround yourself with other people who are also working on their health. So you need that positivity and you need that support that will create this sort of cocoon where you can feel valued and understood. So it's about having people who believe in you, even when you might doubt yourself, and who remind you of your strength and your resilience. So we do this all the time in our clinic, and we do this all the time in our Empowered Weight Loss membership. Okay?
Yeah.
So don't underestimate the power of accountability. When we have friends or family members who are also committed to their own health and wellness, we can lean on each other for motivation and encouragement. So we can check in on each other's progress, share healthy recipes. Marchelle's constantly sharing great recipes in Sugar and Flour Busters Society. Thank you for doing that.
Oh, you're welcome. I love doing it.
Yeah. So it's always just like having other people to share this journey with you makes all the difference. It keeps you from feeling so alone in it. And it's also great emotional support. So remember, this isn't just a physical journey, it's an emotional journey. And there's going to be ups and downs all along the way. You got to expect that. And having someone to talk to and share stories with can be really comforting. So we do so much of this in our clinic and the online programs. And just knowing that we're not alone makes all the difference.
It's true.
Yeah. So we're here for you every step of the way. Whether you're struggling with your weight loss journey or celebrating a major milestone, we want to hear from you. So join our free Facebook group, Sugar and Flour Buster Society, if you're not already a member, and let us know if you're struggling or if you're celebrating. Or if you want more in-depth support, you can join the Empowered Weight Loss membership at journeybeyondweightloss.com/yes. We are always here to cheer you on and provide guidance and remind you that you are capable of achieving anything that you set your mind to.
Yes, you are.
Yes. Okay, did I miss anything, Marchelle?
No, I think that was great.
Okay, so that's what we have for you for today's episode. Thank you all for tuning in. And remember, embrace your new identity, celebrate your progress, and keep the weight off. Until next week, take care and stay healthy. Bye.
All right. Goodbye, everybody.
Hey, if you really want to lose weight and keep it off for good, your next step is to sign up for Dr. Angela's free weight loss course, where you're going to learn everything you need to get started on your weight loss journey the right way. Just head over to journeybeyondweightloss.com/free course to sign up. Also, it would be awesome if you could take a few moments and write a review on iTunes. Thanks, and we'll see you in Journey Beyond Weight Loss.